Probiotics are healthy bacteria that support our digestion, immune system, and help with the absorption of vitamins and minerals. Today, we're going to be making an age-old recipe that is rich in probiotics. Stay tuned. Hi, my name is Katrina. Welcome to the Organixx channel, where together we create healthy and delicious recipes to keep you and your loved ones thriving all year round. Today, we're going to be making raw sauerkraut. Begin by taking your green cabbage and removing the outermost leaves. You're going to want to set these aside for later if you don't have a weight to use. Otherwise, put them in your compost. There are several ways to shred up your cabbage now. The easiest is probably just to use a regular knife if you're making a small batch. But if you're going to be making a lot of sauerkraut today, then you'll want to either use your mandolin or your food processor with the large grater disc. Whichever method you're using, begin by cutting your cabbage in half and then in half again. Our cabbage is now in quarters. Now you're going to want to remove the hard stem, so just cut it out. Looks like this. And repeat that for all 4 of the pieces. Now go ahead and shred up your cabbage, whichever method you're using. You want to try to get them to be quite similar in size. It just makes it for easier fermentation. As you can see, I'm just making small slices right down the cabbage. Once I have these sliced, I'm going to cut them several times the other way, just to make them smaller. So now you can see we've got some shredded cabbage. Place your shredded cabbage into a large mixing bowl. And when I'm doing this, I'm going through it, and if there's any larger pieces that I don't like, I'm breaking them up, or I might slice them one more time, just to try to keep them a little bit more even in size. Repeat this same process with the rest of your quarters. Now when you're working with this cabbage, there really is no need to wash it before we begin shredding it up, because there's some natural bacteria on the outside of the cabbage that we actually want to keep in there. So just go ahead and keep it just the way it is, and of course, if possible, please try to find an organic cabbage. And now it's time to add in our pink Himalayan salt. We have 2 tablespoons. I'm actually going to transfer the cabbage from this bowl into this bowl because there is so much, it wasn't quite fitting. And it's going to help me get the salt all over the cabbage. So I have about 1/4 of the head here. I'm going to put about 1/2 of a tablespoon of my salt in. Then I'm going to add in about another 1/4. Add in about another 1/2 tablespoon of salt. This is when the magic is going to happen. And then the rest, that was probably more like thirds than quarters, it looks like. And then add in the rest of your salt. Okay, we have several ways now to kind of get our cabbage nice and juicy. You can either take your hands and massage it vigorously until the moisture starts to be released, and it takes maybe about 10 minutes. Or you can use this vegetable pounder, and you're going to be pressing down. So what you're doing here is the salt is going to let the moisture be released from the cabbage. So we just gotta keep going. This is where you can bring in your partner, your children, and let them be part of this process. Let them get their hands dirty too. I'm going to call in some reinforcements. Jeremy, come on, my chef. You wanna come use your hands and squeeze the cabbage? Or again, you can use your vegetable pounder, whichever one. Sometimes it's fun just to get your hands dirty, right, Jeremy? Mm-hmm. You can notice already, it's only been a few minutes, and already the cabbage has reduced in volume by at least half. Now I've got a lot of brine here in my bowl. You can tell when you're squeezing the cabbage, and you can start to see all of this liquid forming on the bottom of the bowl. Now I have more room to add in some more ingredients. And this is totally optional. This is my concoction here. I'm going to add 1 cup of shredded carrots. They add a little bit of sweetness and a little bit of color. 2 chopped garlic cloves. Garlic is excellent for keeping colds at bay. 1 inch of chopped up ginger root, which is excellent for your digestion. 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne pepper, which is great for your circulation. It's also going to add that extra little kick to our kraut. Last, I'm going to add 2 capsules of Organixx Turmeric 3D. It's an excellent combination of turmeric and vitamin D that have been fermented together, so it's actually going to get even more fermented. Just break open your capsules and pour it right in. Mix up all of these ingredients now really well, and then we are ready to put it into our mason jar. This is my recipe that I put together. So this is where you get to get really creative and just think about all the different flavors that you like and add them in and experiment and see what happens. Begin placing your cabbage mixture into your mason jar, packing it down really, really well. So you can either use your fist here, or you can use your vegetable pounder. So see if your hand is small enough, that is, to fit in. You can just press it down with your knuckles, or take your pounder and press it down. The tighter you press it down, the better. So really pack it down, and then doing them, bit by bit here. Once you have it all packed down really tightly, and there's some brine on top, you want to leave about 1 inch space right there on the top to allow for some expansion. So if you are just using your cabbage leaf, that's perfect. Fold it up and stick it right on top. It's really important to keep all of the cabbage and the vegetables below the brine. I actually have a little glass weight that you can find and buy online. And that's just going to keep everything down there, because if anything is sticking up outside of that brine, there's more of a chance of the bad bacteria to grow in there, which is what you don't want. I am using an airlock kit with this fermentation, but you don't need it. I'll include the link below of what I'm using. And it has a rubber ring that you place on top. And then it has a stainless steel lid. And then I'm going to screw on this lid that comes with pretty much any mason jar that has lids. Next, adding your rubber stopper. It should have a hole right in the top of that lid that you can just place it right in. And then we have our airlock, which is filled halfway with water, and then that goes right on top. Now, while this is fermenting in your dry, cool place, really away from the sunlight, what's going to happen is it's going to be producing gases, and that's what this allows. So you'll actually see the bubbles pop up here in the water. If you're not using this, that is totally fine. You have your regular lid on top, but every day you want to go and just loosen the lid just a little bit to let some of those gases back out, and then tighten it up again. And you may want to place a plate underneath it to catch any extra juices that may come out. And now we're ready to place this in a cool, dark place for 1 to 4 weeks to ferment. It just depends on how crunchy you like your sauerkraut and how bitter, really, how much you like it to ferment. And once it's gotten to your taste and your desire, your liking, then you want to place it in the refrigerator, and it can stay good for up to 1 year. Now I have all of this brine left over with some more cabbage, vegetables in there. I'm going to make another one, and you know, one of my friends gave me some advice before I made this video. She actually likes the brine, she likes having a lot of brine versus having a lot of vegetables. So this is a great opportunity for me to use this up and try it the way that she makes it versus this way. Okay, so I filled a second jar up with the one that has more brine than vegetables. I'm going to take my cabbage leaf, fold it up, and stick it right in here on top. Add a little bit more just to hold it all down. And then I'm going to place my regular lid on top. And then store this also in a cool, dry place away from the sunlight. And I'm going to place a dish again underneath it to catch any juices. And I'm going to remember to release the gases every day, just so that I don't have some big explosion. Remember to check on your kraut daily. You can give it a little taste to see when it's done and just to make sure that it's doing okay. I'll try to get some filming of that as well. You'll notice there's going to be some kind of white bubbling foam that's going to be forming on the top. It's going to be a lot of fun. Here you can see my sauerkraut is in my pantry fermenting. Here is the one that has extra brine, and there's already some that's kind of spilled out there on the bottom, so I'm really glad I have my bowl there. And then here is the other one that has the kit, and every now and again I'll see these little bubbles pop up as it releases gas. And she's doing really great. I cannot wait to taste her when she's done. Okay, it's been about a week that I've been fermenting the sauerkraut. I'm going to go ahead and give it a try right now. I may want to ferment it longer, just depending on how it tastes. If I can open it, there it goes. So just remember that the longer you ferment your sauerkraut, the softer your vegetables will be and the more sour it will become. This is totally and completely a personal preference. I just removed out my weight and now I'm going to taste it. It's a strong flavor. It's still, you can hear it, it still is really crunchy. So again, if you like your vegetables softer, let it ferment longer. I think I'm going to keep it just the way it is because when you put it in the refrigerator, it's still fermenting, it's just fermenting at a much slower pace. Do you know what I think would be a really great addition to that sauerkraut is maybe chopping up a few pretty thick apple pieces just to give it a little bit more of a sweetness to balance out those really intense flavors of the garlic and the ginger. It's absolutely delicious. It's so healthy for you, and get really creative. I mean, this is the time to really play in the kitchen. Thanks so much for tuning in today. If you like this recipe, subscribe to our channel. And if you're a sauerkraut pro, leave your tips in the comment section below. We'll see you next time.